Hey guys, how's it going? Today I'm answering your question, how I got my American accent. Now there's still some areas that I need to work on, but since so many of you guys have asked how I got my American accent, I thought I'd share with you what actually helped me. In my accent journey, I learned three powerful things, the three characteristics of American accent that really improved my accent. So I hope it helps those of you who are working on your accent and wondering what actually works. So let's get straight into it. Just a little background. I learned English completely by myself. I grew up in a country that English wasn't a big deal. My parents didn't speak English, and honestly, they didn't care about it either. So for most of my childhood, English was another boring school subject, memorizing words and rules, passing tests, and forgetting everything after the exam. But when I was 17, for some reasons, I really wanted to learn English, but I couldn't afford to go to any language school or take private classes. Well, actually, my parents couldn't afford it because I was 17 and I was still dependent on them. And I think mostly because they just didn't care about it. They didn't make it a priority to give me the money. So I tried to find a way to learn English, and I found a video course called English for You, and it was a full set of 90 lessons. The teacher, Melissa, was American, and she had that clear, natural, and accurate American accent, and she'd speak slowly and clearly that I could easily understand her. Even though I was beginner, I could understand the lessons. So for me, that was gold. So I'd watch the lessons, pause them, and repeat after her, as she asked us to listen and repeat. And that's where my American accent journey really began, because I was really deeply influenced by her language and her accent. Yes, I was repeating after Molly, but my goal wasn't to copy Molly's accent or sound like a native speaker. At that point, I wasn't even thinking about accents. I just wanted to learn English. I was just trying to follow along, pay attention as close as possible to understand what she was saying. But looking back, I realized how lucky I was to start with a teacher who had such a clear, natural, and accurate American accent. Well, of course, I wasn't trying to learn the accent, but by hearing it again and again, I was influenced by the way she spoke. I learned to roll my tongue to pronounce the R sound, only by watching her rolling her tongue when she wanted to say something with the R sound. Because, I used to be like, teacher, you are a teacher, you are an incredible teacher. I also learned how intonation works. Like when it's a yes-no question, your voice goes up at the end, as in, you're coming? So this is a yes-no question because the answer would be yes or no. You're coming? See? But when it's a statement, your voice goes down at the end, like you're coming. As I was listening to her, I noticed that she didn't fully pronounce the G sound at the end of ing words. So I remember she was teaching the present continuous, and while she was giving some examples of the present continuous, she would say things like, I'm washing my hands, or I'm writing. So I Googled it and I was right. I heard it right. Americans drop the G. I used to be like, washing, writing, doing. But Americans say washing, doing, writing. So yeah, these were the first powerful lesson I learned in my accent journey from this incredible teacher. I really believe the voice you learn from matters a lot, because when you're hearing the correct pronunciation, the correct sounds over and over again, your brain starts build a kind of audio map. It remembers how the words are supposed to sound. So later when you want to say something, your brain tries its best to recreate the same sound it heard before. Even if you know your accent is not like the American accent yet, but being aware of the American accent is here, but your accent is there, being aware of this fact, you try your best to improve your accent. All right, let's continue with my journey and move on to the second powerful thing that I learned. You see, to practice speaking, I remember recording myself speaking English. But when I listened back to my voice, I was like, wait, why I do sound like this? I knew it wasn't supposed to sound that way, but I couldn't recreate those sounds. I still had strong influences from my native language. Then came the turning point. What really pushed me to take my accent more seriously was when I decided to take the IELTS exam. I knew in the speaking section, pronunciation matters. Well, yes, you don't need the perfect American accent, of course, but natural pronunciation can really boost your score. So I started searching for ways to improve my accent, and that's where I discovered Rachel's English YouTube channel. Finding her content was a game changer for me. Something that I learned from Rachel's videos and completely changed the way I spoke was the importance of linking or connected speech. You see, when we learn English, we tend to pronounce every word separately and clearly, like a robot. We're like, should I tell her I actually ate the cake? As if there's a dot after every word. But in natural American English, that's not how people speak. They connect everything together. The sounds blend into each other. It's, should I tell her I actually ate the cake? It flows smoothly without any strong break. There's a common belief that Americans speak incredibly fast. And I actually myself used to think they speak fast, but that's not true. What makes them sound fast is the way they connect and reduce words when they speak. For example, did you eat? You often hear it, did you eat? And then you think, oh my God, it's said so fast. But actually, they just reduce did into da, you into yeah, to connect everything smoothly. So because they connect everything smoothly, it gives you the illusion of speed. All right, now I'm going to talk about the third powerful thing, or I would say the most powerful thing that helps me to improve my accent. And it's the way Americans use their voice, the placement of their voice. You may have never heard the word placement before in language learning, but it's one of the biggest secrets behind sounding like a native speaker, especially in American English. Placement refers to where the sound resonates in your body or where the vibration happens. You see, when you speak, your voice can resonate in different places, such as your nose, your mouth, your throat, and your chest. This is called resonance. And every language tends to have a different default resonance point, like French, Hindi, or Mandarin have more nasal resonance, higher up in the nose. Or British English feels more mouth-centered and tighter. And American speakers usually speak from lower down, from the chest area. Here's the thing, when you speak English using the same placement as your native language, it can sound off. So think of your body as a musical instrument, like a flute. When you press different keys, the air flows differently and sound changes. The same happens in English. If you don't adjust your placement, you're playing the right notes with the wrong instrument. That's why your throat, chest, and mouth posture matter just as much as your pronunciation. When I first learned this, I started paying attention to my voice, and then I realized when I was speaking English, my voice was high. I was speaking from my throat. So I began practicing speaking from my lower down, from my chest. And to be honest, the change was amazing. My voice started to sound deeper, more grounded and more natural. I felt it. And I won't lie, it wasn't easy at first. My throat got tired, and sometimes I'd even lose my voice a little. I had that frog in your throat feeling, that scratchy sensation that you get after talking too much. So this might happen to you as well, but it's completely normal. It just means you're using your voice in a new way. And like any muscle, it takes time to adjust. It took me a while to get comfortable with it, but I kept practicing it and it really paid off. So if you're really working on your accent and you want to improve it, Learn these 3 things, study them, learn them, and then keep practicing until you get the result. So the takeaway of this video could be keep practicing. All right, I'll see you in my next video. Bye-bye.